Family and business don't mix. That's what everyone says. But no one tells you what happens when your family steals your life's work and tries to erase you from the company you helped build. My name is Jennifer Chen, and this is the story of how my uncle learned that betrayal comes with a price. Chen Technologies started in my parents' garage 20 years ago. My father and his brother, Uncle Robert, had a dream of building next-generation security software. Dad was the technical genius, Uncle Robert the smooth-talking salesman. They were the perfect team, until the accident that took my parents when I was 16. Uncle Robert became my guardian, and everyone expected me to follow in my father's footsteps as the company's technical lead. What they didn't expect was that I'd be better at it than anyone imagined. The quantum encryption algorithm isn't stabilizing. Marcus, our lead developer, complained during a project meeting. We've tried every standard approach. I was 26, supposedly too young to be heading our R&D department. But I had inherited more than just my father's shares in the company. I had his gift for seeing solutions where others saw obstacles. What if we're thinking about this wrong? I pulled up the code on my tablet. Instead of forcing quantum stability, what if we embrace the uncertainty? For the next hour, I outlined a completely new approach to quantum-safe encryption. The team watched in amazement as I sketched out what would eventually become our most valuable patent. Uncle Robert sat in the back of the room, his expression unreadable. Later, he called me to his office. "Impressive work today, Jenny," he said, using the nickname I outgrown years ago. "Your father would be proud. But remember, in this business, it's not just about technical brilliance. It's about strategy." I should have recognized the warning signs then, the way he emphasized strategy, the calculating look in his eyes. But I was too focused on the work, too trusting of the uncle who'd raised me after my parents' death. Over the next 5 years, I led the development of 3 major security platforms. Each one pushed the boundaries of what was possible in cybersecurity. Each one was patented under complex corporate structures that Uncle Robert insisted were necessary for tax purposes. "You trust me, don't you, Jenny?" he'd say whenever I questioned the arrangements. "Family has to stick together." The company grew exponentially. Our security solutions were implemented by governments, multinational corporations, and critical infrastructure providers worldwide. Chen Technologies became a billion-dollar enterprise, and I was its technical heart. But success breeds jealousy even within families, especially within families. I first noticed something was wrong when access to certain project files began requiring additional authorization. Authorization I supposedly didn't have clearance for. "Just organizational restructuring," Uncle Robert explained smoothly. "Nothing to worry about." Then came the subtle changes in project documentation. My name appeared less frequently in technical specifications. Credit for key innovations was gradually shifted to other team members. Team members Uncle Robert had personally hired. Marcus, my once supportive lead developer, became increasingly dismissive of my input. "Perhaps we should explore more conventional approaches," he'd say during meetings, shooting glances at Uncle Robert. I started keeping detailed records of everything: development logs, email exchanges, original design documents. I created private backups of all my work, encrypted with algorithms only I understood. Call it paranoia or instinct, but something told me I'd need proof of what I built. The final warning came from Maria, my father's old secretary who'd been with the company since the beginning. "Be careful, Jennifer," she whispered one evening as I was working late. "Robert's been having a lot of closed-door meetings with the board, and I've seen the lawyers coming and going." I nodded, but didn't tell her what I already knew, that I'd been preparing for whatever Uncle Robert was planning. I had learned his lesson about strategy all too well. The confrontation came during what was supposed to be a routine board meeting. I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into the room. The tension was palpable, and Uncle Robert's smile was too practiced, too perfect. "Before we begin," he announced once everyone was seated, "we need to address a serious issue. It has come to my attention that Jennifer has been engaging in corporate espionage." The accusation hung in the air like poison gas. Board members shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my eyes. "What?" I kept my voice level, even as my heart raced. Uncle Robert's face was a mask of regret. "We have evidence that you've been copying confidential files, maintaining unauthorized backups of proprietary technology. Given your access to our most sensitive projects, this represents a severe security breach." I looked around the room. Marcus sat there smugly. Clearly, he'd been part of this plan. Other board members seemed uncomfortable but unsurprised. They'd been prepared for this. As founder and CEO, Uncle Robert continued, I have no choice but to terminate your employment, effective immediately. Security will escort you from the building. He pressed a button on his desk, and 2 security guards entered the room. As if on cue, my company phone buzzed. My access to all systems had just been revoked. Any company property must be surrendered before you leave, Uncle Robert added, including your laptop. I smiled then, thinking of the encrypted files hidden on servers around the world, the careful documentation I'd been gathering for months. Uncle Robert had taught me about strategy all right. He just didn't know how well I'd learned the lesson. Of course, I said calmly, opening my laptop one last time. But before I go, perhaps we should review exactly who owns the technology that made this company billions. Uncle Robert's smile faltered slightly. The patents are all properly registered to Chen Technologies. Are they? I turned my laptop around, displaying the first of many documents I've been saving for exactly this moment. Let's take a closer look at those registrations, shall we? The color began to drain from his face as he realized this wasn't going to go according to his plan. The boardroom of Chen Technologies had hosted many tense meetings over the years, but nothing quite like this. I could feel the shift in energy as I pulled up document after document on the large display screen. First, I said calmly, let's look at patent number 10,547,893, our quantum-safe encryption protocol. I brought up the original patent filing. Notice anything interesting about the assignee? Uncle Robert's face tightened as he read the details. The patent wasn't registered to Chen Technologies as he'd assumed, but to a separate entity, Infinity Quantum Solutions, LLC. A clerical error, he said quickly. Obviously, all technology developed by employees belongs to the company. Normally, yes, I agreed. Except I filed this patent 6 months before you hired me officially. The employment agreement you're so fond of citing doesn't cover prior intellectual property. Board members were leaning forward now, their expressions shifting from dismissal to concern. I pulled up more documents. And here's something even more interesting. The operating agreement for Infinity Quantum Solutions. I highlighted a particular section. Sole owner and managing member, Jennifer Chen. Marcus started to say something, but Uncle Robert silenced him with a sharp gesture. The same is true for the Neural Network Security Framework, I continued. Patent number 11,276,445, registered to Advanced Pattern Recognition Systems, another company I established before joining Chen Technologies formally. This is ridiculous, Uncle Robert snapped. You developed these technologies while working here, using company resources. Did I? I pulled up another set of documents. These are records from the private lab I maintained off-site. Every line of code, every test, every development milestone, all documented and time-stamped, all predating my official employment. I noticed Maria standing by the door, a small smile on her face. She'd known, of course she had. She'd been my father's most trusted confidant. But that's not even the most interesting part, I said, pulling up one final document. This is Dad's original will, the one filed with his personal attorney, not the modified version you submitted after the accident. Uncle Robert went completely still. Several board members gasped. It seems Dad had a backup plan in case anything happened to him and Mom. He left me more than just his technical knowledge. He left me detailed instructions about protecting intellectual property, about maintaining separate development channels, I looked directly at Uncle Robert, about watching for signs that his brother might try to seize control. You're lying, Uncle Robert said, but his voice lacked conviction. The SEC might be interested in how you've been representing ownership of these patents to investors, I noted. And the FBI generally takes a dim view of will fraud. The room erupted in chaos. Board members were whispering urgently. Legal counsel was frantically flipping through documents, and Marcus looked like he might be sick. What do you want? Uncle Robert finally asked, his smooth facade cracking. What's rightfully mine? I replied. Controlling interest in Chen Technologies, immediate reinstatement as CTO, and your resignation. You can't. I can and I will. Those patents, they're the core of every product we sell. Without them, Chen Technologies is just another struggling cybersecurity startup. How long do you think our stock price will hold up when clients learn their mission-critical security systems are licensed from companies you don't control? One of the board members, Janet Wu, spoke up. Ms. Chen, perhaps we should discuss this privately. I'm sure we can reach an arrangement that. Oh, we will, I agreed. But first, Uncle Robert needs to understand exactly what's happening. You see, he taught me about strategy, about always being 3 steps ahead. I learned that lesson very well. I clicked to another screen, showing a complex network of shell companies and licensing agreements. Every major innovation this company relies on is controlled by entities I established. The neural network framework, the quantum encryption protocols, even the AI-driven threat detection system, all developed independently and licensed to Chen Technologies through carefully structured agreements. Impossible, Marcus muttered. I oversaw those projects. You oversaw their implementation, I corrected. But the core technology, the breakthrough innovations, those came from my private research Dad taught me to protect long before he died. Uncle Robert had taught me about corporate strategy, but Dad had taught me something more valuable, the importance of protecting what you create. The board needs to vote, Janet Wu said firmly. Given this new information, I moved for an immediate leadership change. The vote was unanimous, even Marcus joining in once he realized which way the wind was blowing. Uncle Robert sat there, watching 10 years of manipulation crumble in minutes. You planned this, he said quietly. All of it. No, Uncle Robert, you planned this. I just made sure I was ready when you finally showed your true colors. The next few weeks were intense. Legal teams worked overtime to untangle the complex web of patents and licenses. Some executives resigned, others scrambled to prove they hadn't known about Uncle Robert's schemes. Maria helped me transition into my new role as CEO, sharing insights about the company's history and operations that proved invaluable. Your father would be so proud, she told me, not just of what you built, but of how you protected it. The tech press had a field day with the story. Chen Technologies shakeup. Hidden genius takes control, read one headline. Tech heiress outsmarts corporate coup, declared another. Uncle Robert tried to fight back initially, threatening lawsuits and media exposes. But faced with the possibility of criminal charges over the modified will, he eventually accepted a quiet retirement package and disappeared to his beach house in Florida. Marcus approached me a week after the changes, asking to stay on in a reduced role. I should have seen what was happening, he admitted. Got too caught up in the politics. Dad always said talent should trump politics, I replied. Prove you still have the former, and we'll forget about the latter. The company flourished under new leadership. Without Uncle Robert's focus on short-term profits and personal glory, we could pursue more innovative projects. I established a research division specifically for developing next-generation security solutions, remembering how Dad used to say that true innovation needs room to breathe. 1 year later, I sat in what used to be Uncle Robert's office, now redesigned to be more collaborative space than executive shrine, looking at a photo of my parents. The company they'd started in our garage had grown beyond their wildest dreams, but hopefully not beyond their values. Maria knocked on my door, holding a familiar leather notebook. Found this in the old archives. Thought you might want to see it. It was Dad's original project journal, filled with early sketches of security algorithms and hastily scribbled ideas. In the margins of one page, he'd written, "Always protect your creations, but never stop creating. Success without integrity is failure in disguise." The lesson Uncle Robert never learned. These days, Chen Technologies is known for more than just its security solutions. We're famous for our innovation labs, our support of independent researchers, and our commitment to protecting intellectual property rights. Every developer knows their creations will be properly attributed and protected. The board still meets in the same room where everything came to a head, but the dynamics are completely different. Ideas flow freely, credit is given where due, and success is measured not just in dollars, but in innovations that make the digital world safer. Uncle Robert sends the occasional email, usually when our stock price hits a new high. I never respond, but I keep them as reminders that sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone's plans. It's about building something better than they could have imagined. Dad's original will is framed in my office now, next to the first patent I ever filed. Together they tell a story about legacy, about protection, and about the importance of being prepared for betrayal without letting it make you bitter. After all, as Dad used to say, the true measure of success isn't just what you build, it's how well you protect it and who you become while doing both.